5 years ago, very few teachers in India spoke about SAT. Today, schools, parents, and students are increasingly choosing it. Is it SAT just a trend, or is it becoming the future of international education? This is what we are going to find through our today's podcast. This is Astha. Welcome to the ninth episode of Global Teacher Insight. And today we have with us Sukruth as our guest. He has 10 years of experience, and I want him to introduce himself to all of us. Yes, Sukruth, over to you.
Hi, Astha, how are you?
Yeah, I am good, Sukruth. What about you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. My name is Sukruth, and I have 10 years of teaching experience. I have been through almost all the curriculums: SAT, GRE, GMAT, CAT, MAT, and I taught quantitative aptitude also, and I taught SAT math also. And I started SAT math as a freelancer back in 2017. Then joined EdTech. Now I'm working for 2 to 3 EdTechs as a freelancer. And yeah, pretty much it's going good. And yeah, this is about it.
That's great, Sukruth. Sukruth, before we start with the questionnaire, I want you to tell the viewers what exactly SAT is, because many teachers, they don't even know this name. So can you tell this what is SAT to the viewers?
Yeah, SAT is basically it's an entrance test. It's like an entrance test, like we give for NEET, JEE, like that. It's an entrance test, and it is for the undergrads programs when you are aspiring to study in US, UK, Europe, right? And that is the only way in the sense that is a prestigious way to enter a college. Like if you have Harvard, MIT, Stanford, right? These are most popular names in the Indian households also. We keep on hearing these names. And to get there, we need a high SAT score. So that score and your profile decides like where you get the admission, you get the scholarship, and all these things.
Thank you so much. So now I think viewer will have an idea what SAT is. So let's start with the question. So, Sukruth, here comes the first question. SAT has suddenly become one of the most talked about international exams. From your experience, what is driving this rapid growth?
Definitely. So what it's driving is one thing: Indians want to move abroad and they want to study there, right? And most of the Indians you can see right now in social media also there can be outrage. Also, there can be more loving towards the foreign nations, like the lifestyle, everything, and they want to get there. And to get there, one is through job, and another is through business. If you are a businessman, you have a lot of money, you can go and settle there. But for a middle class or lower middle class, the only dream is they can get through education, either through undergrad or through postgrad, right? And that is the reason this SAT, like after 12th, so they will plan accordingly. So when the student is in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, so they will plan to give SAT. They started to take the coaching, and that is one of the reason. And another reason is the digital format of SAT. I can say, unlike the traditional old paper format, digital format has attracted a lot of students, and due to its transparency also, that is one of the reasons.
I want to ask one question here. So, okay, in India, that is the reason because many people want to settle outside India. But what about in foreign countries? Because I think now in India, it's becoming very on-demand thing, right? But why in foreign countries its demand is increasing?
Yeah, previously I think some of the universities has planned to drop, and some of them have dropped SAT, and they made that SAT is not so important to get an admission, and now they are again putting that back, that SAT score, because SAT has evolved in digital format. It has evolved it has evolved logically also, and there's a set of framework, and that can be a standard test that can filter the students, right? Some of the bright minds and who can think logically and get into top universities. I think that is one of the main reason. The use of technology, use of Desmos graphical calculator, all these things has rapidly made the universities also to understand that this kind of exam filters of the student, like who thinks logically, critical reasoning, everything. I think that is one of the reason it is increasing nowadays. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Sukrit, can you also tell this to the viewers that someone who is preparing students for IIT and JEE, can we say that those teachers can teach SAT?
Yeah. So coming to that part, what generally when we what we expect from the teachers is the knowledge, right? So in SAT, it is not the same case. In SAT, you could have almost all the teachers. Like if I take about math teachers or English teachers of SAT, so generally they have the core knowledge, right? Core competence. But the thing is, here it is only the 40% and the 60% is the adaptation to the test, what the test asks. And it is not like other exams like CAT or JE or NEET or some abrupt question will come. There is a set of framework. Okay. And SAT will follow the same set of framework, the logical thinking, and that is must for every teacher to adopt, I guess. So teachers should be teachers should evolve on a daily basis, like what the SAT is asking each year, what the pattern is, and how the questions are framed. And they must evolve themselves through Desmos also. Desmos is something JE or NEET teachers, they are not aware of that, right? And in India, we have a tendency, right? Most of the exams, we will not use calculator, we will use mental math, right? So SAT is not like that. We have calculator also, that is also provided. And Desmos, there is a graphical calculator also, that is also inbuilt in SAT. So teachers must be aware of that, and they want to think like the examiner point of view, what they are testing in the question. Yeah.
So, coming to the next question, many teachers assume SAT is just another math and English exam. So, you just answered it is not, right? But what is the biggest misconception teachers have about SAT?
Yeah, teachers have about SAT. That is one thing, that is knowledge. They think that we need more knowledge and we need to be well versed with the American or US curriculums, right? But it is not the case. So we need knowledge, definitely. We need conceptual understanding, right? But we need to adapt to the technologies also, like the Desmos graphical calculator. We need to learn Desmos, first of all. That is, we cannot ignore that fact, right? So every parent or the student wants to solve the question visually, right? They wants to see the graph, how the line moves, how everything, how the curve moves, and what is X, what is E, what is X square, right? They want to see that through a graph. And this is what most of the teachers are lacking, because non-SAT teachers, they are not aware of this, right? They don't use it on a daily basis also. They just tell the student, they will just dictate whatever theory is, they'll just solve the question. But here, that approach is needed for SAT teacher.
I agree, because I have seen teachers, math teacher, who are not into these competitive exams. There is one more thing, Sukruth, they know also that they are not implementing it in their session.
Yes, yes.
Very important. If we
Yeah,
are
yeah. And we need to cut down that one-page solution, two-page solution. And teachers are not ready to evolve. That is what I feel.
that
And
is
they
all.
want students to adopt certain methods by themselves, and
Yes.
that will not happen. And that is not that is not what do you call good trait of a teacher. That is what. Yeah.
Important. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move to the next question. So you have trained students for GRE, GMAT, CAT, and SAT, right?
Yes.
From a teacher's perspective, what makes SAT teaching unique compared to the other competitive exams?
Definitely. So what makes it unique is in GRE, GMAT, or other exams, you need to be, I think in GRE provides the on-screen calculator, but GMAT or CAT or all these exams, they will not provide the calculator. You should be aware of the so much calculation, like you need to aware of percentage to fractions. You need to be aware of this tables, squares, cubes, all these things. That should be in your fingertips, right? And these things, you should carry this to the exam, and you should use approximation like the calculation and all these things. It will be very in-depth to solve all these questions. But SAT is not like that. SAT is well versed with, I think, on a practical basis, like how we are living in day-to-day life. Like we won't solve everything by pen and paper, right? Me and you, if you want to calculate anything, we will use calculator, definitely, right? And if there is any graphical thing, we'll use Desmos, okay? And this is one of the uniqueness of SAT, I guess. And yeah, I think pretty much that is one of the important part that is missing in Indian exams. So we still rely on the old practices, like the traditional approach. Yeah, but I cannot argue with that, because there are certain demands are also there for certain exam. So I think that is the best part for SAT teachers, I guess.
So we can say that in SAT, the calculators are allowed, decimals are there. So the approach towards this exam is completely different. So is it
Completely.
similar with GRE, because that is also an international competitive exam? So
Yes, some of the questions are actually similar with GRE because in SAT and GRE, one thing that is common is they will ask the question and the options or the question are little confusing and you have to be very accurate. But it is not the case when it comes to graphs or the algebra portion because GRE doesn't test you to that extent. GRE wants you to solve the question. They will not allow Desmos and graphical calculator. But SAT definitely allow that, and you can just when you have the question you can just put it into the Desmos and you'll get the answer easily. And student also wants teachers to explain that not in a complex way like so many steps and one page solution. They don't want that. Nowadays kids will directly ask you like how can I solve this easily. They will directly ask you, and these generation kids, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, all these kids coming up, they don't like that whole traditional approach. And wherever the coaching institute which cannot adapt to the new methods, they will definitely fall in future. Yeah.
to this 100%. Okay, moving to the next question. Where do you see SAT education heading over the next 5 years? Do you believe this is an opportunity teachers should start preparing for today?
Yeah. So the first part of the question I want to address, I think SAT is becoming more popular compared to other exams, and it was not the case like few years back. People were not aware of that, right? And nowadays, what is happening in India or in any other countries also, they are seeing the pattern of SAT and the like how the exam is going to take place, all these things, and more. I think most or the more number of entrance exams will adopt this method, I guess. That is my opinion, I guess. And second thing is about the teachers. So there is a shortage of teachers right now, and the demand is very high. Demand is rapidly increasing, but the shortage of teachers is there. I think teachers can work upon this. They can see the syllabus, or they can see the number, see the type of question, and they can tap into this opportunity. It's what I feel.
That is true. And suppose more than the shortage, I think more than like shortage of teacher, we should say shortage of skilled teacher, aware teacher.
I mean, skilled SAT math teacher. Yeah, SAT math or SAT English teacher. I wanted to frame that. Yeah, that one.
Exactly. That's true. But I don't think there is any certification required to become a SAT teacher, right?
No, certificate is not required. But if a teacher is not aware of the SAT, I think they can go to the Blue Book. There is a Blue Book app which is provided by College Board. They can directly go and take a test and see how the questions are timed in a timed manner. Definitely, if math teacher, if anyone gives a question paper, they will take whole day and they will solve it. Right? Anyway, they will solve it. But it is not the case in SAT. We have to solve the questions in a time frame manner. I think that is one thing teacher can do from their end to start in this field. Yeah.
Yeah, this will help them to at least get an insight, what SAT is,
Right.
what their question.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
so the last question, Sukruth, of our podcast. If a teacher watching this podcast wants to enter the SAT ecosystem but doesn't know where to begin, what would be your first piece of advice?
Yeah, as I said, my first piece of advice is to give a test. Okay, I think teachers will be hesitant to give an official test because of the price. It is, I think, priced around 11,000-12,000. If the teacher can afford that, then they can give the official test. If they don't want, they can log into the College Board. There is a Blue Book app. Okay, and in that app they can give the full length test or the math test or sectional English test or math test. They can see the question types, how the question is framed, and what is their score also, right? What are the things they are lacking? They can work upon that. And moreover, they have to think in a certain way that it is not about solving the question or getting the answer. It is like how the examiner is thinking and what the examiner wants from the students, what the examiner wants the student to think. Is it Desmos way? Is it elimination method? Or is it using any shortcut? Is there any tricks, approximation, unit digit, or like this way? Teacher has to think around these areas, I guess.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I think viewers, you should go and check today if you're watching this video. the book and give it a try. If you feel you cannot afford, then as Sukruth mentioned, we can always do the sample paper from book,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Sukruth. Moving to the last part of our podcast, that is the rapid fire. And don't take too much time to think about the options. All right.
Sure.
Okay. GRE or SAT?
Definitely, sir.
Okay. Conceptual teaching or shotgun strategies?
I think first I'll more incline toward conceptual, because conceptual first we need understanding, then shortcut is also required. So it's a, I think it mix of both.
Yeah. Okay. Online teaching or offline classroom?
Definitely online.
Why, Sukruth?
Because I was there offline till now. Now I moved to online, and I'm earning more than 6 figures, and definitely freedom is there to work
Yeah.
anywhere.
Okay. Calculator or mental math?
I think calculator, and for SAT specifically, calculator plus Desmos calculator is pretty much required.
Okay. One quality every SAT teacher must have.
I think the quality is they have to be accommodated with the new methods of teaching, like the
Yeah.
Desmos. Desmos is pretty much very important. And if the teacher knows how to use Desmos and solve the question, then I think 75%, 80% is solved there.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
The last one. One mistake students make while preparing for SAT.
I think students give a lot of tests, but yeah, once a portion is completed, they will give tests, but they will not note down the questions which have gone wrong, which they have taken more time. And if they follow that error analysis or error book, maintain that and revise, then what happens if the same kind of question comes in the exam, then they can easily tackle that. That is a most common mistake students.
Thank you so much for all these insights, Sukruth. So this is a wrap of our podcast, guys. If today's conversation sparked your interest in SAT teaching, stay tuned, because in our upcoming workshop with Sukruth, we'll dive deeper into the SAT ecosystem, the skill teachers need, and how you can get started. This was it from today's podcast. Thank you so much, Sukruth, for joining us. And stay tuned for our next podcast, guys. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Astha. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.